Hey folks, welcome back. So to start this week off, we are back to working on our rail system for the loading doors here. And that is just simply so that we can have like a hoist or a block and tackle or something that we can roll out over the end of the mill house here. We can lower something down, lift it up, and we're able to get stuff into the loft area of the mill house without having to use the loader or something like that. That way, if it's not in the area or somewhere else on the farm, I can still get, smaller, heavy stuff up here. Now, I'm also hoping to work this week on seeing if we can finally finish off officially the deck boards on the old covered bridge, because we sort of finished that off when we put some boards that had kind of twisted and stuff like that down temporarily. That gave us our second layer of deck boards on there, at least short term. But I still need to mill out a few more deck boards. Then we can take those over to the covered bridge. We can pull off these kind of twisted, warped ones and put down our new ones, and then we will finally be done with the deck on that. And then, of course, if we have any extra time, we may do a little bit of work on the old Land Cruiser. But first of all, let's see if we can't get this project finished up with the loading door rail system. Alright, so first thing today, we've got to test out our new little rig that we got set up here last night. Now, I've gone ahead and hooked a little block and tackle to it, and it's actually a fence puller, so the top part that's hooking the block and tackle to the carriage is actually meant for pulling strands of fence tight, but it'll work for now. Eventually I'll put probably like an S-hook or something up there. And then down here, I just rigged up a little basket. This is an old mineral bucket that you use for cattle, and we're gonna haul some firewood up here. We're getting a little bit low, so it gives a nice excuse to try this thing out. Okay, so next up, we're gonna see if we can't get the twist out of these two doors and get them to line up a little bit better. All right, well, it's a little hard to see, but you can see the wires going across there. Both of the doors were twisting kind of in the same direction, so that's why the wires are both going that way. Now, we haven't pulled all of the twist out of it quite yet. We've probably done a little over half of what was there. With wood, you often want to make kind of more gradual changes. If you do everything at once, sometimes something's going to give, whether it's the wood or maybe the screws are going to pull out or whatever that's holding it. It doesn't always go so well if you try making big changes real quick. So like I said, I think we took a little over half of the twist out of it. The wires are fairly tight, so we're just going to let that set for a while. Maybe in another week or so we're going to tighten them down a little bit more and kind of gradually take that out of there. But I think we should be able to get them pretty well straightened out here after a little while. Okay folks, so today we are going to work on doing some more milling, because tomorrow is supposed to be a really nice day, and I'm hoping I can drag my dad out here to help do the rest of the deck boards on the bridge. Now the first thing that we need to do is we need to go through our pile of boards over here. There's a few good ones left in these, but we need to sort through, get those pulled out, and then once we see how many of those we have, we'll know how many more we need to get milled up. Now I think we need about 20 more boards to get this finished up, so that's not too bad, and with what we have here, it shouldn't take too terribly long to get these things milled out. Alright, well, we got finished up late last night, as you could see, or well, maybe you couldn't see. I'm not sure. I haven't checked that video yet, but we should have enough boards over here to finish off the rest of the second layer of the deck. So today we are going to try and get the rest of these hooked down. So that means we got to take these over there and the air compressor and the generator, all that good stuff, get that ready to go, and then sometime here in the near future my dad should be getting out here to help put those down. Alright folks, so today we are just going to do a little bit of work out here today, and we're going to work on the old Land Cruiser, as you could probably guess. Now what we're going to do is I need a test to see why we aren't getting fuel to the engine. And the way that I'm going to test that is I've got a little vacuum puller here, I guess you might call it, and when you squeeze on this handle you can see the building a vacuum inside of the line in the little container here, and I've already disconnected the fuel line right before it gets to the fuel pump. So what we can do is we can jam this thing into the end of that, start pumping on this, and hopefully what we'll see is some fuel start coming up through the lines, and that's why we've got this little collection container on there in case it gets up a little too far here. We don't want it getting inside of the pump. Now that will tell me that, for one, there's no blockages or anything, nothing weird's gotten into the fuel lines. We haven't gotten any huge amounts of gumming up in there or something like that. There's no holes in it where we're leaking air in, nothing like that. That'll let me know that. And then that basically tells me that it's something with the fuel pump. Now, I can't just really test the fuel pump very easily on its own because it's actually totally mechanical and actually works off from movement within the engine. There's no electrical component or anything like that, so it's a little bit difficult to test that on its own, so that's why we're doing it this way. That is some nasty looking stuff there. My goodness. And that is supposedly gasoline, although it's pretty cloudy and pretty nasty, so we'll probably want to flush some of this through here, see if we can't get that looking a little bit better. But that tells me what I kind of suspected, in that there's probably something wrong with the fuel pump, and I'm not sure if I can get a replacement gaskets for this one particularly, or whether I'll just need to buy a new one. But either way, the fuel lines appear to be good. There's no holes in that. We got an issue with the fuel pump. Alright, so today is going to be our last day for the week. It's going to be another short day, and we just have one little project that I want to get done, and that is to kind of head up, not all the way up the mountain, but part way up the hill here towards the back of the farm, and see if we can't find a few cedars that we've ripped out with the loader that were, just scrub stuff that are fairly straight, and I would be able to get a few posts out of. Because I've got a little project that I want to work on sometime here in the next, maybe a couple weeks, and I'm going to need a few posts for that. So we're going to see if we can't find a few of those, trim the branches off, and then bring those back down to the mill house. Alright, so as I was driving up here, I was going by the old farm cemetery up here, and that's when I realized that I already had some cedar posts up here. Now these are from when I cut a few for a guy that just needed, like, I don't know, a dozen or so. And so I'd gotten a few extras so that way he could pick through which ones he wanted. And we got a few laying over here, and I got another one over here. And they're a little bit smaller in diameter, and that's, I think, why he didn't want those. But for what we're doing, these should work just fine. Alright folks, well, as you can see, we are back down at the mill house, and I'm getting warmed back up in front of the wood stove here. And as you saw, I went ahead and cut some more cedar posts while I was up there. I figured, you know, I had the time, I might as well get a few more and bring those down as well. And also right now there are a ton of gates that I have to go through. The guys that are running cattle on the farm at the moment have kind of a weird setup that I don't totally understand, but that's fine. And you have to go through like 6 gates to get up to where I was. So I thought, as long as I'm up there, I might as well get, you know, a good handful of them while I'm at it. So hopefully next week we might get our new fuel pump in for the Land Cruiser. I don't know exactly when that's going to come in. I don't have an ETA on that yet, but with any luck that'll come in and we can get that replaced. We also might work on a little project with these posts that I just brought down as well. I don't know. We'll see how that goes, see how other projects go. But of course, you know, it's always all weather depending on what I can do and what days I can get out and for how long and stuff like that. And you never know what it's gonna do for sure until, well, generally the day of. So I think that's gonna be it for this week. As always, I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you next time.